Welcome to my channel. In this video I want to talk about my May and probably June plans. Why 2 months? Because I want to select several pictures for 2 coloring themes. And it will be mermaids, obviously, because I love to support idea of mermaid when during the month of May we color various mermaids. And the second theme, it's Alice in Wonderland. I just realized that I have many pictures created by various artists all about Alice in Wonderland, so it's quite interesting to color pictures in different styles but united by this theme. Of course, I plan to color other books, not to limit myself to only these two themes, but I love to have plans. Usually I color around 50 or maybe 60% of my pictures from the planet list, and the rest it's spontaneous choice. So what about mermaids? Of course, my first thought was to look into dark fairy tales. And short spoiler, before I got the idea to film this video, I already did a page with mermaid here. So video very soon will be ready. As usual, we have spreads dedicated to fairy tales in this book. Somehow in this book I was attracted only to the right side of the spread. I think that it's because I already saw many finished pictures on the left with the portrait of mermaid, and I think that I just not sure that I will be able to color something in very original idea. I'm just happy to look at works by other colorists, and for myself I selected this right side. I think that it looks lovely, but we will discuss it later in the end of the month. I consider it as a first finished work of May because I just finished it. So instead of pressing myself to do the left side, which is not very inspiring, I decided that no, you can select other fairy tale which is more interesting for you, and instead of doing a mermaid in dark fairy tale, I remembered about another very lovely Kirby's book, and it's Mythic World. Here I have Lara. It's a Brazilian myth, so I think that in May I definitely want to do this beauty. First of all, I neglected this book for such a long time. I still love it a lot. I think that for me these two are the best Kirby's books, so I definitely want to return to it. Definitely it will be must-have project for May. First I thought that maybe I want to try to do the redhead mermaid. Then I read story more carefully, so she was described as a girl with green hair. Okay, it also will be interesting to do a mermaid with green hair, so I hope that this one I definitely will finish. Of course, when I think about mermaids, my other choice could be a book by Crystal Vogel. It's a lovely book where I love to color, but every finished page I feel slightly overwhelmed because of the amount of details on such small pages. So I have in mind several pictures here. My top choice could be this one. I really love this landscape with the shipwreckage, even with sharks. So they look interesting, those mermaids. At least you don't need to color like 20 mermaids on one page. As I said, sometimes it feels overwhelmed. So maybe this one or another is this one. I just love the composition here, and I think that girls are very sweet. So maybe this one. I haven't decided yet, but at least one page I want to do, simply because I love to add finished pictures to these books, even slowly, even if I do like couple of pictures every year. Still, it's a progress. In this book, I love to experiment with the backgrounds. I already did ink dance background, watercolor background, and of course it helps to color quicker, and I'm happy that paper allows to use water-soluble media, so I think that maybe I will combine watercolors and pencils. Next obvious choice for mermaids was this book by Jasmine Beckett-Griffith. I love this artist, but sadly recently I don't color in her books very frequently. I have the whole book dedicated to mermaids, and so far I have only 2 finished pictures here. When I think about pictures in this book, I most of all attracted to those girls in beautiful French style dresses and with poisson volant, beautiful fishes, and we have several of these girls and several of beautiful tropical fishes. So lovely girls. You can see that all of them are extremely fashionable and beautiful, but it's not about mermaids. So I decided that maybe I need to start from a real mermaid, and then if I have time I finally can do something from this part, because they are so lovely. Everything from their dresses, their jewelry, and of course those creatures, they all are beautiful and interesting to color. But I think that my first project could be another beauty. Here we have this mermaid called Nixie. Why I like it? Because it has different style of faces, not traditional faces of Jasmine Beckett-Griffith girl with very wide faces and huge eyes. This one looks a little bit, well, I lost it. Looks a little bit more adult, so to say. Definitely very beautiful, starting from her beautiful eyes, nice hair. So I think that maybe I will do this one. And every time when I select pictures with mermaids, I try to calculate which colors I already used for my previous pictures. I did mermaids with blue hair, green hair, with red hair, with golden tail, with multicolor scales. So it's very interesting to select which color combo I can use for the next mermaid. I think that it will be my second must-have mermaid for May, immediately after the Lara from Kerber Razanes. It will be a very good moment to return to the books by Jasmine Beckett-Griffith. Because I love this Blue Angel paper, I love to color in it. Of course, for mermaids, I also checked books by Christine Karen. And I must confess that her mermaids, they are absolutely lovely, but somehow every time when I think about coloring them, I am more attracted to other pictures. In such case, I don't press myself like you have to color only mermaids. Of course no, because that's hobby for pleasure. And this time, instead of classical mermaid, I put into my plans this beauty. She's also, maybe she's also a mermaid, because she's the queen of the 7 seas, but she's so elegant. I again love her pose, her hair, her jewelry, very lovely. And after I did several portraits in other books by Christine Karen, I think that I feel more confident with shading on the skin, so I hope that this one I also will be able to color using watercolors for the background and pencils for the lady. I started to prepare colors to do my color planning, so in May or in June I definitely will be doing this one. Next, I checked Klara Markova. Her mermaids usually are very lovely, and in the first book which I own, the green one. I colored a couple of pictures with mermaids, so this time I decided to check little secrets. And again, here mermaids are lovely, but I am much more attracted to other pictures. So I don't think that chances to color page with mermaids here are high. I really want to select something with berries, or there is a lovely page with pears and like pear ice cream. So really lovely, interesting pages. The best mermaid page which I selected here, it could be this one, but maybe I will postpone it for the next year. Maybe it sounds strange, but the most interesting element for me is this perfume bottle. I will remember about this one, but only if I have a lot of free time in May, but that's very low probability. But I promise to pay more attention to this book in June. Also, I checked books by Hannah Carson. I don't own Aquarius, which is dedicated actually to mermaids and other sea creatures, but I have this one. Soulmates is one of the unhappiest books in my collection. I think that I don't have any finished pictures here. I started a couple of pictures. They turned out so badly that I completely abandoned them and I don't even want to look at them. And we have here a lovely mermaid. When I looked at this one, I always admired her beautiful headpiece with so many elements, also very lovely bottom part. But when I look at her face, sorry, I don't want to offend anyone, but I found that those scales beneath her eyes, they are extremely ugly. That's definitely not a thing which I want to keep, which I want to color, so I need to try and to decide for myself if I can mask them normally without creating just dirty spots here, maybe using gouache paint or some other opaque paints, then I would gladly do this page. Not the right one, because here I also dislike those things which are growing from fish. For me, it's not attractive, let's say softly. So it's unpleasant when I can see from the fish we can growing things. So only the left side. I think that I own a couple of paints which are opaque enough and which could be used, but I'm not sure that on top of them I will be able then to do normal skin tone, which means that the whole face I have to do with gouache or other paints. Well, so to do such page, I really need to be in very creative mood and I need to be ready for fight and for struggle. Not sure that I want such emotions when I have other lovely pictures. So this beauty, maybe she will have to wait. Without those elements, I would start it immediately because I love everything here. She has a lovely face, but what to do with these things? I don't know. Maybe I just need to to think myself about them like a normal part of the mermaid. I thought about doing them similar in color to the hair, but still I can't say that I find them very attractive, so for me it's very questionable picture. Next book where I have lovely mermaid, it's this Nel Coneco. You know that I try to color in it at least maybe once in 2 months or once in 3 months. Here mermaid is very tender, very lovely. Somehow when I look at her face and her hair, I think about mermaid with maybe a light pink or lavender hair. But here I am not very sure about the background. I definitely don't want to use pencils for the background, it's just too much. And from my previous attempts to use only pencils for the background. It's very boring and I don't enjoy doing it, so I need something else. Sadly, in this book we don't have any test page to test art supplies. I wish that instead of those colorful pages in the beginning we have at least one test page. So we immediately start from pictures and there are no pages where you can test. Just here probably I will try to use my watercolors. I already did a couple of pictures with watercolors and my feelings there were very controversial. You need to control your paint and your watercolor strongly because there were those cauliflowers effect, those pools of water and paint, and maybe for water, for ocean background it could work, but here I struggled to do watercolor background. Here also I will test several brands of watercolor, and if I find something which could help me to do quickly this background and then on the corals, on the seashells, Next I have this pile of books where I also have pictures with mermaids or creatures similar to mermaids. And honestly, I took them from my shelf only out of guilt because I own them. 4 or 5 years ago I colored in them much more frequently. Now when my taste changes a little bit and when I own books printed on much better paper, I think that it's very difficult to press myself to return to these books. Here we have plenty of mermaids, but the big problem is that we also have pictures where a lot of backgrounds, it's empty area, so you need to do something beautiful and creative. I never loved how watercolor behave on this paper, so my two choices are either gouache or Inktense. I don't know, maybe if I really want to practice with gouache, I can select something with nice animals, because we have lovely pictures here with turtles, with dolphins, or like this one with seahorses. I love them, but not sure that I really want to work with Inktense or gouache. Usually I never happy with such backgrounds. I just don't have enough skills to do something interesting. But maybe if I decide that I can practice with gouache, I can select this one. Very sad feelings, like you have decent books, but because of the artist style or maybe because of the bad paper, it's difficult to return to them when in the same time you have other books printed on much better paper. The same thing about these goddesses. You know, if you follow my channel for a long time, that it's one of the favorite books which I have, because I love the theme and I love the style, but paper, it's Amazon printed. To color portraits, to color detailed pictures, it's awful. And even when I look back at all my finished pictures, I'm proud of myself how many of them I managed to finish. But in the same time, I can see all imperfections of paper, how badly pencils blend on it, or how badly other art supplies behave here. My last pictures here started to look slightly better because I did mostly marker background and pencil main image, but still it didn't help too much. So even if here I have a lot of lovely pictures which I would love to do, for example this goddess, she definitely could be colored during Mermaid. She is lovely. I do love the dynamics of her hair, very beautiful. But when I think again about doing this face on this awful paper, I keep asking myself, what is more dear for me, what is more important, to do progress in the book, even if the book is lovely, or to enjoy the process when I can color something in Blue Angel books where paper is absolutely amazing. And unfortunately, every time I select comfort and pleasure from the process, and all these books, they are laying untouched. The same about this book or other mermaid books which I own. I didn't even bring them today because all of them are printed on Amazon thin paper. It's lovely, interesting and very unique book by Tatiana Bagema because her style is quite unique. And we have many lovely fairy tales. But again, when I think about all this background, if you want to do decent water or stormy sky, either you spend a month blending pencils on awful paper, or you use markers, or you try to do other tricks like using gesso, using gel crayons. Again, not sure that I'm ready to it. I know that it's a path of a coward, but when you have other books, it's definitely very tempting to do pictures on comfortable paper where you can select any art supplies and you don't need to struggle. So I hope that one day I will start to color in this book. It's lovely. I love to look at the pictures, but it's totally untouched. I brought those last pictures of mermaids just to show you, but I am not sure that I am ready to color them. So I will start from the top list, from Mermaid in Kerberazzanes, then Mermaid in Jasmine Beckett Griffiths, and then we will see how much I will be inspired to invent new color combos for mermaid scales, tails, whales. So I hope that at least a couple of mermaids I will add to my collection. Actually, maybe in the end of the month I will film all my finished mermaids through the years and we will see how I progressed. Now let's talk about second theme, about Alice in Wonderland. Actually, no, I forgot to show you another mermaid page. This page from Romantic Country's second tale, I tried to put into my May coloring plans probably each of last 3 years, and I never actually started it because it's a spread. The left side of the spread is very nice, interesting treasures in the cave of the mermaid, but the right side isn't very inspiring, and I'm just afraid that for such a size I will spend the whole month doing it. Even if I can quickly color water and those stones with Inktense pencils or with other paints, still I'm not sure that I'm ready for such a detailed and time-consuming work. So it's lovely, but every time I postpone doing it because every time I think about other pictures, like you want to color airy, but select something slightly less detailed or select just one page, and every time from this one I got distracted to other airy books. So again, I selected it out of guilt because I hadn't touched it probably for a year and I feel like I want to do something in airy. But probably again, not this time. And now let's talk about Alice. Alice in Wonderland. If I again arrange my pictures, which I want to do for Alice, the first one will be in Mythographic Odyssey. This book, it's one of the first in the series, and it puzzles me, but in the same time it attracts me. Sadly, it's still one of the books where we have those hidden objects, but Katin Bank created at least good variety of hidden objects. Even on the cover we can see that at least they match the style of the picture, and also they are extremely detailed, which is actually very frightening. Page which I am thinking about is this one. When first you look at the background, you just think that it's a mess. First I recognized only Alice and cards. Then I found this white rabbit. You can find caterpillar. So I think that maybe finally I'm ready to start this book. Actually, it's one of the easiest pictures in these books. The other ones, they are even more complicated. So wish me luck, because I really don't like that I have so many mythographic books which are still or totally uncolored, or they just have one colored page. I think that finally I am ready to do something in Odyssey. My second choice is again Jasmine Beckett Griffiths. The whole book dedicated to Alice in Wonderland and completely untouched. Here I love those pictures which were inspired by famous paintings. It's like Alice participates in those masterpieces. But maybe I want to start from something more classical. I absolutely love this Alice and Mad Hatter. I just have to select main colors for the background, and then I think that I will be ready to start doing this one. I love to work on this paper with Prismacolors. It's absolutely a pleasure. So everything I plan to do just with pencils. There are also smaller pictures in this book, like this one. So even if I am not ready for the full-size project, maybe at least I will do something smaller, and in such a way I will give a start to this book. Next, I have this Escape to Wonderland, and honestly it's similar case to those Dennis Klett books, because I used to color very frequently in the books about good wives and warriors, especially Escape to Oz, Escape to Shakespeare, where paper is great. This Escape to Wonderland has slightly different paper, and for me it's the most complicated in this series. So far I did several not bad projects here, especially when I tested pencils. Here all budget pencils work very well. I remember that it was Arteza, Sucolor or other budget pencils. Watercolors, they totally misbehave here, so my only choice here to use gouache, which I actually did for the first pages in this book. That's all gouache background. Here gouache and then shiny watercolors. So I had some fun with this book, but now it was difficult to think what I actually want to color. And for me, I try to select something between those roses, because they are really very beautiful. Or maybe this one. For this one, I'm not sure about background. Maybe something plain in pastel color will be enough. And then those footments I can do with pencils. I really want to do something in this book, because again, I hadn't touched them probably for 2 years, maybe even longer. And it's sad. But every time I return now to other books. So, well, like 50-50 chances. I know that there are also pictures with Alice in dark fairy tales. But here, just like with the portrait of Mermaid, I already saw so many finished pictures for the Alice in Wonderland that it totally killed my own imagination, honestly. So I decided that I won't be pressing myself. Before this one, I have other fairy tales which I really want to do. I want to color Alibaba spread, and I want to color red rose and white rose fairy tale. So even if they also could be included in Alice coloring marathon, I don't think that I will select this fairy tale. Maybe if I only just to decide very quick progress in these books, and maybe I will color them. But definitely those two, they have much bigger chances. And finally, I remembered that in one of my favorite books, in Nelko Neko, we have several, at least 3 pictures, maybe even more, dedicated to Alice Sam. And in this one I enjoy everything: paper, style, amount of details. So I just need to decide what to do. I already actually started to do Alice part last year. That's my last year work. I can finish this one. Or maybe I can do this beauty. Here I absolutely love this cat. It's very charismatic, very beautiful, so very nice. But if I feel very adventurous, I can even start this one. I think that this spread will require probably a couple of months of work. Just this frame of roses. I can't imagine the amount of hours which you will need, but in the same time, it's so lovely. You can divide it into several projects, like you can color Alice cat, you can color mouse and those yummy things. Then you can do the Mad Hatter, White Rabbit. So slowly, hero by hero, maybe it's actually a way to work on this spread, not pressing myself. So I love challenging projects, so I definitely will try to do this one. Maybe in June, if we still have electric power, I will do this one. I think that I need something simple to feel again this paper, because I colored here last time for Halloween probably. I need to do something simple, and then I will be able to do the Alice spread. I am actually very inspired by it, so I will start to select colors, and I hope that there will be a day when I feel ready to start doing it. Okay. I think that I have a lot of work ahead of me for May, June, and I don't mind even to continue doing these 2 Sams in July. As I said, of course, I will be including many other books when we have spring, when we have summer. I love to color flowers, so I also will try to find for myself selection of flowers from different artists, again by Crystal Vogel, by Leila Diuli. So I hope that May and June also will be very colorful and will bring me a lot of fun from coloring. Thank you for watching, and I hope that you will be interested to watching videos about mermaids and about Alice in Wonderland.